everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Kate Hamilton Health Podcast. I'm really excited to share this episode today. This was another one of those magic episodes for me where I really connected with the guest, and just the topic that we are discussing might not be for everyone, but I do ask that you listen to this with an open mind. So in today's episode, I interview Yvonne Tchrakian. Yvonne is a manifestation coach and she is based in Dublin. We talk all around the topic of manifestation. And I know some people listening at first will hear the word manifestation and be like, no, but please do hear us out, because manifestation is much more than just dreaming big and wishing for things to happen. And in this conversation, we really do talk all around the art of manifestation. We talk about what it is, how it works, what the neuroscience is behind it. We talk a lot around career changes, fertility manifestation, fear, and what like other things that block us from actually achieving what we set out to achieve. And this can be adapted to any aspect of life, whether you are dealing with fertility, that you're trying to make a career change, whether you're trying to grow your business, whether you are on a health and fitness journey, whether you're trying to lose weight. This can be adapted to any type of goal or anything that you want to bring into your life. Yvonne talks through her 7 steps of manifestation during this as well. I literally was like a student with a pen scribbling down loads of notes through this. She has so many amazing manifestation products as well, and she often does events and challenges. And definitely go check her out if you find this podcast helpful, because one thing I'll say about Yvonne, I'm just drawn to her energy. Her energy is just so enthusiastic. It's so get up and go. It's so positive. And she's a mom, she's a businesswoman. She's actually still a corporate lawyer at the minute. She is moving away from law into doing this full time, but her energy is just amazing. And I really think you are in for such a treat. So enjoy this episode. Yvonne, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
This is a really interesting story, isn't it, about how we've kind of connected. I thought I'd just start the podcast by kind of sharing a little bit about kind of what my connection to you seems to be, because I'm the one who's reached out to you to come onto this podcast. So if I actually first was introduced to you at Elevate Fit Fest last year. Wow. So I was there. I went to your talk that you did on manifestation, and I was there with my friend, and I remember sitting there thinking, and it was kind of the end of the day, wasn't it? Well, I think it was the last event I went to in the day.
It was definitely the afternoon. I can't remember.
It was the afternoon. I think I was heading home after that. So it kind of been a long day. I was tired. And then it was just like, it just woke me up, like listening to your talk. And what it was your energy. It was like your enthusiasm, your excitement, your energy, it kind of connected something with me, particularly that kind of energy that I had when I first started making my career changes and, building my business. And I was just like, yes, like this is my kind of energy. And it always kind of just stuck with me. And then that was fine. That was last September. It went about my year. And I was in Ibiza in June with my daughter. And for some reason, the hotel Instagram, I happened to click on their stories, and you had tagged them in something that you were there at the same time. I was like, I know that name. And I clicked and I was like, oh my God, it's the manifestation lady. I thought that was so funny. And then I was thinking about you. I didn't see you or anything when I was there, but I was thinking about you one of the evenings or whatever. I was thinking about your talk, and I remember you talking about Sarah Blakely, who is the founder of Spanx. Isn't that right?
Yeah, Spanx. Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember you talking about how you were like really trying to get a meeting with her, or get a meeting with her dad, or you ended up having her dad on your podcast, didn't you?
Yeah.
And that you were like this focus, or, and so I started following her afterwards. I was like, wow, what an amazing woman. She is amazing. But I opened my Instagram that evening. No, sorry, I didn't start following her. I've started following her now. I opened my Instagram that evening after thinking about you, and Richard Branson had a post up, and he had mentioned something about Sarah Blakely. And he'd done like some sort of carousel post, and it was something that Sarah Blakely was doing. I can't remember. And I was like, oh my God, that's so weird. So I clicked, and so I started following Sarah Blakely, which I'm really inspired by now. She's amazing. But I was like, Yvonne, I need to message her, because for some reason the universe is bringing her into my attention. So that's when I reached out to you, and because I know that you're like, yes, you'd agree with me. There's some we don't know yet, but our paths are aligning for some reason.
Oh, 100%. And it's so funny because I can hardly remember what I had for breakfast, but I remember being in Ibiza with the girls. I was on a girls' trip. Oh my God, it was so good for my soul, I swear. But I remember I really like time by myself. I'm a total extrovert, but I really like to be by myself for a little bit of time in the day. So I was going down, I was having breakfast by myself, and just one of my girls came in and sat beside me, and you and your daughter walked into the breakfast room. And I remember saying to my friend, "Oh, look at the two of them. How cute." Because I think your daughter was almost matching outfits, kind of, or like something similar. It just looked like such a lovely and I don't remember anyone. So when you reached out, I was like, oh my God, I saw you in Ibiza. And I remember you specifically because I remember thinking, that's her.
That's so funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, my daughter, she's 12, so she's just started secondary school this week, so she's already starting to turn on me. But it was such a lovely time together where she still like when we be on holidays, she'd enjoy us kind of she'd be like, "Yeah, you wear your orange bikini today and I'll wear my orange. We wear our white shirts together." And
Whoa.
so she still likes to be matching sometimes, but like I have a feeling that is never going to happen again. Maybe when she's an adult she'll do it.
I have a 4.5-year-old, and I was just thinking how nice it is now, not realizing that you had other kids as well, but to get that one-on-one
Mm.
time with one of your kids, you know?
That was a real first having that holiday with her. But it just worked out. It was actually a business trip that was cancelled and I had it all booked and I was like, oh, I would still want to go. So I brought her with me instead because she was finishing primary school and it was really nice. It was once kind of, I suppose, once in a lifetime kind of thing. But she's my only daughter. I have two boys. So it is nice to have that different relationship. And I think as my kids are getting older, they were a little off topic, but anyway, I'm learning that it's really, really important to have that little bit of one-to-one time with each of them, which is so hard when we're trying to do everything.
So, yeah, it's impossible. I've got 3 boys and a girl, so I hear
Oh, so
you.
you'll have that same dynamic as she gets older. You'll have that girl time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But anyway, look, would you like to just tell everyone a little bit about you, what you do, a little bit about your backstory, and then we can kind of dive into talking about the things that you are expert in.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I was born in Kerry, and then the 80s were quite tough in Ireland, so my parents moved to LA, and we lived in LA till 1996, and in 1994 there was a really really big earthquake. So my mom was like, "I am getting out of here." So we left in 96 and I came home and I would have started secondary school in Listowel. I have always been very sporty, very active. I'm the second child, very competitive, and feel like I was raised like myself, glass kind of half full always, even though I came from a family that it was not like that at all. Like, because my parents went to the States for work and stuff, it would have been, we don't have enough, the money mindset wouldn't have been there. There would have been a lot of scarcity, lack. Both my parents came from farming backgrounds. So it was like, I always had a different mindset and I always knew, I remember thinking when I was a kid, when my dad was saying something about money, I remember thinking, I'm never going to have to worry about money when I grow up because I just had this focus and dedication that like I'm going to do what I want. And I remember my aunt in California had said to me when I was 5, it's my earliest memory and I think it shows the importance of us teaching our kids like positivity and belief in themselves and gratitude and manifestation. She said, "Someday you're going to be a lawyer or a doctor." And I just took the lawyer piece and I ran with it. And I studied really, really hard, but I didn't get the points I wanted to go to the college I wanted. So I ended up in Galway and I did arts. And so I did law and history. And then I went on to do a master's in Dublin. So that's what brought me to Dublin. But I've always been hugely into, like, I wouldn't say self help books, but kind of, positivity and mindset sort of things, very into health and fitness. And so then it was 2008 when I started working and I needed to get a traineeship in a law firm and I couldn't get one. It was so hard because I didn't get the top points in school and I didn't go to Trinity and do straight law. I kind of went a different route. And I remember thinking, I'm going to get into one of the top law firms. I'm going to get in, but I didn't know how. And eventually, anyway, I worked my way in through a contact and I started as a paralegal. And that just launched my legal career. I worked my way up And then I got a job in kind of a public company. But when I started to like get really into manifestation, which is what I do now. So I am a corporate lawyer still, and I'm finishing up corporate law in September and
Wow.
going all in on manifestation. And that's a wild story in itself. So you were at Elevate in last year in 2024, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And at Elevate 2024, I said to Orla, who does a lot of my kind of back end stuff, newsletter, helps me out and everything, I said, I had this gut feeling. I was like, I don't know what it is, but in September 2025, my life is going to change. My career is going to change. I don't know what it is, but I think it's career related. And then in May of 2025, our company didn't get good clinical trial results. I work for a biotech. So they were doing a restructuring and my role is being made redundant. And I'm finished in September of 2025. So, like, I just knew. And it's funny because I had started to see in March 555 everywhere, the numbers, like the number 555. And I've always seen like 444, 111, like most people see, 222. I'd never seen 555. And I was doing a podcast with Matt Cook, who's another manifestation coach in the UK. And I said to him, I keep seeing 555 everywhere. And this was in the March. And he was like, it's change, expansion, growth, travel. And then in the May, I found out I was being made redundant. And I was like, that's it. It was all the signs were there. And I'm telling you, I feel like I'm being pushed out of law this year. I forgot to pay my law society fees. They were late. There's a whole chaos around that. I got audited by the Law Society for my continuous professional development. I was like, oh my God, get me out of law. I'm supposed to do this. So, the business and the brand really started after the loss of a baby during pregnancy, which was in May of 2020. And that's when it all really kicked off, when I started kind of creating products more for myself, the gratitude box and then the manifestation box. Because people would say to me all the time, oh, Yvonne, you are the queen of manifesting. You get everything. Like, how do you do it? And then so I just created these products to teach people, and then it just kind of started rolling on and taking on, going from there. So it's something that I'm hugely, hugely passionate about. Like I know this is the path that I am supposed to be on. I know 100% from my own stories that your thoughts, your feelings, your beliefs are creating your reality without a doubt.
I couldn't agree more. And it's so lovely to get this background on you as well, kind of before we like kind of dive into kind of the whole topic of manifestation, because I know there'll be some people listening that'll be like, yeah, this is all woo woo stuff. And we're really going to challenge that, I think, in this conversation. But in relation to the career change, just before we move on, when you said this in September 2024, had you any intention in leaving your career in law? Like, is it always something you were kind of like, oh, I'd love to just be able to move away
No,
from this?
do you know what? It's so funny. Like, I actually love my job as a lawyer. I have a great job. I work for an American company. Well, it's an Irish company, but my boss and the team are all in California. I love what I do. Like, it's a little bit of everything: corporate employment, data protection, everything. But when I returned to work in 2024, I had 4 kids. I was going back having doubled my family. Like, so I had twins, which I manifested, by the way. It's a wild story. People are like, you can't manifest a baby. I'm like, you should hear the stories. You should hear the stories that people send me. And I'm talking about, like, I have been diagnosed as clinically infertile because I had ovarian cancer and I am now pregnant. Like, that's the sort of stuff that
Wow.
I'm getting. It's unbelievable. I'm like, yes, you can, but the challenge is you don't believe it's possible or you have doubt or whatever. But anyway, that's going off. But so I love my job as a lawyer. Love it. I think it's great. I have a great company. I love law actually. But going back to work as a mom of 4, you're constantly juggling, you're totally stretched. And what was happening was I was having like events or going to Wellfest or speaking at Elevate or holding my own events or doing my own manifestation challenges. And I was just getting through them. So there was no joy
Yeah.
in the actual event or the talk or because I always had to move on to the next thing. I was always busy. I had lost myself in like zero fitness, right? Like I was not exercising, not even not exercising. I had no motivation to exercise because I was just so busy. And then I was blaming perimenopause. Oh, I'm 42 in October, so it must be perimenopause. And I'm also have got 4 kids and I'm busy. But you know what
Mhm.
it was? It's the phone. Being so busy, waking up in the morning, throwing up my Instagram reels, going on stories, that dopamine hit of the phone. But anyway, I'm kind of going backwards. So, but I knew that I couldn't keep this up. And I said to my husband, I cannot do this. Like when 2025 came, I was like, I cannot do this anymore. It's just, I can't. Like, and he said, well, you're not giving up your job anyway, like your legal job. No way. Like you earn well, you earn a big salary. And look, it's really hard. Like when you have, I don't think a lot of people talk enough about how hard it is to get your career off the ground, how hard I worked coming from the background that I came from. I did not come from money. I did not have any lawyers in my family. I did not have any doctors or any, I was the first one to kind of go down this path. So it's not something that it's easily given up. Right. And then also, my husband is really amazing. He's a tax lawyer, but we're very 50-50 when it comes to the family, which is unusual. And he's like, listen, Yvonne, if you are not going to do any of the shopping, any of the cooking, any of buying the kids' clothes, like you got to be bringing in the money, at least doing something. So, like, but I was like, I just can't do, I have to choose one. I have to choose one. So I just kept on saying this little prayer. And when I talk about the universe can be anything for anybody. Like the universe can be you, your higher self, angels, or God. For me, I actually do believe in God and I believe there's something more, but I just call it universe to make it really inclusive, right? I get a few Catholics who like, it's always the Catholics that get like, you should be, they're throwing Bible verses at me. I'm like, hello, Matthew 21:22. Whatever you ask in prayer, believe and you shall receive. It's in the Bible, folks, right?
We're all talking about the same thing, no
We're
matter
all
what
talking about
you
the
think it's
same
coming
thing.
from.
Who
Yeah.
cares? Like, you choose you. You do you. I don't judge here. You want to call it God? Go ahead. You want to call it your angels? Go ahead. You want to call it, your higher self? It doesn't matter. There's something more. There's energy. We know this from neuroscience. But I used to say this prayer every single night. I say a couple prayers at night, like just in my head. Universe, put me on the right path. Show me the way. Put me on the right path. And one of the steps in manifestation, I have 7 steps. One of them is you don't know how it's going to happen. So if you say, well, I'm just going to quit my job and I'm going to do manifestation, that is a way. But for me, I just put it out there and I said, put me on the right path, show me the way. And I knew when the company was restructuring, I was like, okay, everything always works out for me because that is my motto. So if I am not made redundant, if I am kept on, that is my sign that I am not ready yet to go all in, that I just keep on chipping away, keep going, keep going. But if I'm made redundant, it is my sign you are going all in on yourself. And I was made redundant and I'm finishing up on September 19th, but like it's kind of a win-win because they've kept me on as a non-exec director. So like it's just really good for me. It's worked out in some ways just absolutely say perfectly. And September is the ninth month. So endings, 1 is new beginnings, 9 is ending. So September 19th, because it's really weird. I was meant to have an earlier date and then it became, and I had an international kind of angel expert, Sinead Dehora, on the podcast. She's like, what? September 19th? It's the ninth month. That's endings and 19th is new. So I feel like the universe has put me on this path and I trusted the timing. I knew this is where I wanted to go. I kept taking action in my business, the podcast, the selling the products, the showing up for events. And I knew it would all work out, whatever way that would ultimately be.
I can relate to this so much, Yvonne, because my own backstory, I come from a teaching background. So I was a primary school teacher for 15 years before I changed career. And like that, I worked really hard to get that degree. I worked really hard to move myself up within the staff, get on the board of management. And, then I was on the in-school management team. And that, I kind of was like trying to climb. And it all just kind of happened by accident. I started to get into personal development. I started to get into fitness, and a little bit then of that kind of spirituality and yoga side of things as well. And as I've learned through this, it was during COVID, really, like when I had that space and that time to think, it was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And I had started doing like, a PT course, and I'd started doing a nutrition course, and I was like so enthusiastic. I was working till 11 o'clock at night, studying and learning and putting together, programs and all of this stuff. And I was like, I would never do this with school stuff ever. Like, I would go and I would do what needed to be done during the school day, and whatever needed to be done after school, then I was gone and I was switch off mode. So it was this like fire like lit inside me. And I think I had all this personal development stuff and kind of universe stuff going on in the background. I was listening to a lot of podcasts, reading a lot of books, and I just kind of like that. I was like, everything is happening for a reason. I just need to kind of surrender and then take action when things come in front of me. So that led to me going on a job sharing path. So I was half teaching and then I was half coaching. I was working in the gym. Then I was like, all right, I'm going on a career break, because with teaching, it's great. You get that opportunity where you can come back to your exact same job, exact same position. You can take up to 5 years if the board of management will let you. So I took 2 years career break. And what I did during that time is I went and I got a job in the local gym. And I was doing some personal training face to face for a while with people. And then I was working kind of behind the desk at the gym and, wiping down machines and all of that. And I was building my online business in the background. And what happened then is I found working face to face with people was taking a lot of my energy. So I stopped personal training in person. And like all of this stuff made absolutely no sense to anyone, what I was doing. And then it was like, so I was just working in the gym, which I really loved. I worked behind the desk. I got to know the members. It was really, really good energy, good fun. And then when I was like cleaning showers or I was cleaning machines, I had my earphones in and I was listening to business podcasts, and it was just like that energy, that like fire in me. But like, it was a lot of work because I was literally, the moment I got up till the moment I went to bed, it was constant go, like it was constant hustle, but it wasn't forced, if that makes sense. And built and it built and it built. And then I was like, I need to cut the safety net. So I like left my permanent job that I'd had for 15 years. And my parents thought I was having an absolute breakdown, I think. But, and so I relate to you when it's like, you've worked so hard for this degree or this, in your case, this master's, and everyone like, I remember my grandparents being so proud of me that I got this degree and that I was becoming a teacher and, so well respected this job. So it was really like unlearning a lot of limited, like kind of, what's the word, conditioned
Yeah.
thought patterns. But I just knew that this all needed to happen. So then it did. And so even when I jumped in, I remember having a conversation with a friend who's an accountant. And she was like, now you need to make sure before you make any type of career jump that you've got X, Y, and Z amount of money. I had fucking no money behind me. And I was like, no, don't care.
Well,
I
that's
didn't tell anyone. And I just did it.
accountant. Oh my God, they're so risk averse.
Yeah, I know, I know. And you know what? Like, I need an
You
accountant in
want
my
to win.
life as well because I'm too much of a dreamer. So, like I need an accountant to be like, Kate, calm down or you're going under. Like, so that's good to have. But it was like I just went against everything that, like, would have made sense. And it's led me to where I am. And it's been an absolutely amazing journey, a whirlwind journey. So I really relate to where you're at now in relation to now your business that you're moving towards is probably more established than mine was at the time when I made that jump. But it's a hard thing to do as a mother and someone who's paying a mortgage and, who's like,
Yeah, well, I think you're really brave. I really think that the people that actually cut that tie and make that decision, no, no, I'm going to do this regardless, are super, super brave. And I always say to people, like, don't quit your job immediately. Like, see, like go down. Like for me, for example, I had said when I went to the company, I only want to work a 4-day week. And that was because on the fifth day I was doing the podcast, I was doing my own business. So just like you started with the job sharing.
yeah,
Because what happens is you could quit, and then all of a sudden you start to panic about money and
yeah,
these thoughts and this vibration, negative vibration around money. And then like you just get overwhelmed and you'll just give up. So doing what you did, even is like, going on the job share and then actually taking a career break, having processes in place. Like, because I have heard a lot of people say, you don't like your job, just quit your job and off you go. It's like, well, like, let's be a little bit practical and logical about manifestation too. things do take time, and we do have to live, and we have to pay mortgages, and we have to feed our kids, and et cetera, et cetera. So like, and a lot of people won't start manifestation because they're like, well, I don't have the money. No, I'm telling you, you start working on what you're passionate about and the money will come. And you don't know how the money will come or the opportunities will come or someone will knock on your door. You do not know how it's going to show up. How is not one of the 7 steps. You just start taking a little bit of action every day. A lot of people say to me, like, oh, I really want to do, I really have a lot of knowledge on kind of like, I don't know, Reiki or healing or this or that, but like, I don't have any money to start the business. And I said, social media is free. The biggest thing that I should have done prior to launching my business, I should have been talking about manifestation years before that because I was always into it. I waited until I had a product to launch to really start talking about manifestation. I don't have a huge following. I've 19,000, almost 19,000 now, right? But I started at 400 when I launched my products. Like the year before I launched was 400, and then the year I launched was about 1,400. But I should have been doing this the whole way up. And then so there are things that you can do taking action, even if you don't have the money. And I'm telling you, if you follow your passion and what you truly love, the opportunities or the money or the connections with people will just start to show up.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I think the point you made there about like being a little bit practical about things as well. And I think the reason why that is so important is because what's the one thing that's really going to ruin manifestation is fear. I just wanted to interrupt the podcast for a moment to talk to you a little bit about Kate Hamilton Health online coaching. So we have 2 coaching options available. We have our elite coaching and we have our group coaching service. Our elite coaching service is bespoke, individualized coaching, which will help you to finally break free from diet culture with one-to-one anytime support from your coach and with access to a safe, supportive community. This is a higher ticket coaching option and the coaching is by application only. If you go to my website, katehamiltonhealth.com, you will be able to apply for elite coaching through there and we will be in touch to organize a call and to get you up and running. In relation to our group coaching starts on the first Monday of every month. When it's full each month, we do close the doors. With the group coaching is about building the habits, body and energy of the healthiest version of yourself and finally make it stick. We include personalized calories and portions, food lists, recipes, meal plan ideas, step goals, home or gym-based workouts, depending on what you want, changed every 8 weeks, mindset work, app access. So that's the Kate Hamilton Health app, which will be your hub for everything, weekly yoga classes, WhatsApp group community, weekly group Q&A with myself, fun challenges, daily habits form, weekly self check-in, fortnightly check-ins with your coach, a library full of lifestyle guides, a library full of lessons, seminars, and all of this is updated regularly. We have weekly group Zoom calls with myself and the team, regular guest seminars where we get experts on to talk more to you about different topics that we need experts on for. And then we have in-person events twice a year that you will get at a major discount as being a member of the Kate Hamilton Health community. As I said, this starts the first Monday of every month. If you go to my website, katehamiltonhealth.com, you will see when the next group coaching intake is starting for you. So we close the doors as soon as that intake is full or the Monday before the group coaching starts. So usually that last Monday of the previous month. So if you head over to katehamiltonhealth.com, all of that information that I've talked through is on the website. You'll be able to book your spot for the next intake there. And I will chat to you all then. Fear and overthinking. And if you don't have enough money to pay your bills, you're going to be living in fear and you're going to be living in lack because you have to survive. So it
100%.
is getting that balance, which can be quite tricky. And when you start a business, there is a lot of fear. And I've been working with a mental performance coach to really work through my fears and, learning that there's a certain amount of leaning into it and doing it anyway. which is what stops a lot of people. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on fear in relation to manifestation and how it gets in the way.
Oh, it's like, I mean, it came up for me recently. I have an event in the Sugar Club and I was manifesting that I wanted to do an event. I actually went to a psychic, if anybody's into psychics, but like some people are, some people are not. But I'm like, yeah, I'll try, And he said to me, do your own events. You need to do your own events, Yvonne. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do one of my own events. So I decided I was going to do one of my own events and I wanted to be in the Sugar Club. I wasn't really sure why, but it was like the Sugar Club was on my mind and I was going to do it with Matt Cook. And we finally got in touch with the Sugar Club and really I was running it, like it was my event and Matt was coming over. He was kind of the co-host, but like I was picking the venue and all that sort of stuff. And then I put the tickets on sale and I told myself, this is going to sell out in July. We're going to sell out in July. We're going to sell out in July, which is number one. I always say, don't put timelines on stuff because the fear will start to come in. Stop putting a timeline on it. Like, I'm going to have a baby by December. I'm going to have a house by January. You work towards it, but let go of your timeline. It's not your timeline. Timelines will only increase your fear and doubt. So we put the tickets on sales and sure, I didn't know what I was supposed to expect in terms of ticket sales, but this is what happened. Week one, 26 sales. I was like, oh shit, there's 150 plus tickets to sell here. Like 26 tickets. Following week, 34 tickets. I'm starting to panic. The following week, 34 tickets, no sales. And I'm like, oh, holy shit. So then the fear starts to come in. One, am I going to be able to sell these tickets? Two, am I going to look like a total idiot? Like, it's like a failure to like put out this event, talk about manifestation. And I had just done a manifestation challenge saying what I wanted to do was sell out the event and get sponsorship and all of this stuff. And I'm like, if I can't even manifest that, I'm going to look so stupid. And I remember saying, I'm just going to pull the event. I'm just going to pull the event. No, I'm just going to say I have I'm being made redundant in September. I've got lots of stuff going on. This is not just good. I'll just pull it and I won't look stupid. And I thought about it a bit more. I was like, Yvonne, you can't do that. Like, you can't do that to yourself. Like, you can't self-sabotage. So I haven't done any I had a girl doing inner child, Robin, on my podcast, and I thought she was amazing. So definitely inner child work is something that I want to do more of. And I remember thinking, okay, Yvonne, like, what would you tell your younger self if this didn't work out? Like, what is the fear there, Yvonne? And I was like, the fear is I'm going to look stupid, And I thought about it more and I was like, well, that's the ego. And so I just thought about it like, what would you say to your younger self? And I just thought, I was like, I'm proud of you for trying. I'm proud of you that you put yourself out there, Yvonne. You put yourself out there. You put tickets on sales. Maybe it didn't work out, but like, I am proud of you for even trying because for anyone that puts out a podcast or puts on an event, oh my God, it takes so much courage, or a book. It takes so much courage to put yourself out there. And then I just thought, yeah, okay, I'm proud of you for putting it out there. Well, let's go. Let's keep going. So then the following week, 44 tickets sold. And I contacted Matt and I was like, Matt, we've 44 tickets sold only. I said to him on the phone, well, we only have 44 tickets sold. I voice messaged him and he wrote back and was like, that's great, Yvonne. Stop using the word only. It's 44 tickets. You're going to sell these. We're going to sell out. It's fine. Surrender and let go. And I was like, oh, yeah. Why am I not practicing what I preach here? I'm not practicing what I preach because everybody has something to work on. And I like from childhood, my probably thing is this worthiness. I needed to get to law. I needed to prove myself. I didn't, like I said, I didn't come from a background of a family that had, it was this constant proving. And then like having that support system around you of people who are going to support you when you're freaking the hell out. Because even when you're a manifester like me, and I believe everything works out, everything, you still need those friendships or people who are going to be like, you've got this, Yvonne, you can do this. So Matt was one of them. And another girl called Olivia Hunt was like, Yvonne, you're going to sell out this event. Will you just relax, and like supports you? And the event sold out last week and we've like 2.5 weeks to go. People are looking for tickets, but it taught me a lot of lessons myself of like, Don't self-sabotage. Feel the fear and do it anyway. If you're not scared, you're not dreaming big enough. You should be scared. You should be scared putting on an event that's bigger than anything that you've put on before. You should be scared launching your podcast. You should be scared leaving your job. If you're not, then you're staying small. You're not dreaming big enough. But you have to work through that fear and keep questioning it. But like, why is it there? Is it there? And a lot of the time fear comes back to what other people are going to think and say, which is we place so much dependence on. And I would always say, I don't really care what anybody thinks of me, right? I really don't care. But when you peel it back to like putting yourself out there and putting on an event, it really shows up of like, oh shit, I don't want to look stupid here, you know?
Yeah. And I think that goes back to like our survival in like, it's ingrained in us as humans, to be welcomed by the tribe. Like, so as much as we logically don't, we're comfortable in who we are and we're confident and we don't worry too much about what other people think of us. At the end of the day, deep in our core, we also don't want to be shunned. I think that's nature really, isn't it? Like it's in all of us, I would say.
Yeah, and I think that the biggest thing with when you're manifesting or on any sort of self-development journey is you're always questioning yourself. Like I was questioning myself everything, but why? But why? And even when it came down to like you haven't even paid the deposit, Yvonne. You have paid in full. I paid in full in April, the full amount. Was I worried about losing the money? No. I was because money in abundance is not my trigger point. I was just like, it's fine. If I lose the money, I don't even care. I'd rather lose the money than not look stupid.
Yeah.
And that was such a huge lesson for me. Imagine if I had canceled that and not gone ahead because I was afraid that I would look stupid and not sell the tickets. And I think that maybe let's say this all the tickets didn't sell. There was only 75 sold. You still should show up as if you are that person that has sold out. You still should show up online as if millions of people are watching you, even if you only have 400. And people might say, well, I feel so stupid. I'm only talking to 400 people. Well, act as if, so we're always learning. We are always learning about ourselves. And I feel like I always say the universe is throwing us these lessons, but like, you have to question yourself constantly. Why is this making me feel like that? Why? And then acknowledge them. And I think the inner child work is really good for that. It just gives you
Yeah.
more kind of self-compassion.
I actually, was it in? No, it wasn't Elevate Fit Fest. I'm like a serial Fit Fest goer. I'm not. I'm not really. I've actually only ever been to two, but I was at the one in Dublin. Yeah, what's it called?
Wellfest?
Belfast.
Yeah.
And Barry Hussey was doing, which I interviewed. I
Yeah.
manifested my interview with him. He came on the podcast there a couple of weeks ago, but he did a talk at Wellfest. It must have been the same year actually. And he did inner child work. And there was a big tent full of people, and I'm sitting there with my friend. And when I tell you, I not only were tears streaming down my face, I was like I was like blubbering, like, I couldn't. I was like, Kate, you are in public, calm down. Oh my God. And it was like all this emotion. And anytime I've done any inner child meditations, like, just online ones, or, if I've been to like, I don't often go to a meditation class, but I have been to one before where the inner child work was done. And every time I do it, it brings up this huge amount of emotion. And there isn't any significant trauma in my past, which made me never thinking about it, if that makes sense. And I'm like, holy shit, there's some amount in here that isn't resolved, or there's a little girl in there that has a lot that needs to be resolved. And I'm so interested in inner child work now because of that. Yeah.
Yeah, you should talk to Robin Taft. She's brilliant. She was on my podcast, and when I did a manifestation challenge, a reset, she came on and did a meditation, and she was just brilliant. But she talks about her fertility journey and how much she struggled, and she said that a lot of people assume that inner child work is for people who have a lot of traumatic back history, but that's just not necessarily the case. She had a great childhood, really loving parents, but still things come up from people. We always, there's always something there that we have to work on, which usually, as we know, stems from childhood or adolescence, teenage years. So we all have stuff to work on. And no matter who you follow or what manifestation coach you follow, or it doesn't matter. Everybody has something. Everybody has something that they need to work on. And remember, everyone is a normal human being just like you. You know, nobody should be elevated or put up on a pedestal. The more I talk to people, the more I realize, oh wow, we're the exact same. You know? I had a call yesterday with Matt Cook, who's 500,000 on Instagram. And we were saying the same things about our talk on the day. We're like, are the same people, some of the same people, should we repeat those stories? Should we not? Like, we're thinking the same things. Our thoughts are the same. Even other things that we chatted about in our personal lives, very similar. We are all the same.
And it's funny, Matt Cook, I'd never heard of Matt Cook until you mentioned him before. I don't know when it was we were talking about the podcast when I had DM'd you and you'd mentioned something about him and I was like, Matt Cook, I don't know who he is. And I looked him up and I've been following him since. And oh my God, I love him.
Yeah.
He is amazing. I love his little posts that come up. I can't wait for his book. I listened to your podcast with him on it and I was like, this guy is amazing. But
Yeah.
in a really simple kind of, I can do this kind of way.
Yeah, he's such a beautiful soul and he's got such a calm way about him. It's why I think that we're actually a good duo together because I'm like, let's go, la vibe, like loud and bright and colorful. And he's just like, no, let's calm down, Yvonne. This is all gonna work out. And but we get to the same place. Now he's extremely into like I've manifested everything. The twins, the soulmate, the house, the abundance, the dream jobs, everything. And I believe anything is possible, right? Anything. And I can explain it and I know the 7 steps and I can explain a lot of the neuroscience of it, like the brain and how the brain works and how it tags important information to you. Like whoever's listening today, choose a sign. Like, I have so many signs for different things. Let's just say, for an example, a BYD car was my sign that we'd sell out the event, a BYD car. So I'd see the car and I'd be like, we're going to sell out. A red Tesla is I'm going global. That's what I say. A Dalmatian dog is my podcast going global. I guarantee you, you choose your sign today, you are going to see it. But choose something that you don't see too often. Matt is just a calm, and I'm the storm.
I love it
We
though.
get to the same place, but he does a lot of quantum physics and quantum mechanics, and that for me, I'm just like, oh yeah, the vibration, this, that, the other, the physics, like everything, and I'm like, yeah, I don't. It's not that I don't get it. Yeah, I kind of don't get it. Like it's so technical from a scientific perspective, but we still get to the same place. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think it's really important to have different people channeling it in different ways so that it reaches more people so that interestingly, like, both of you resonate with me in different ways, like, but someone who's new to manifestation you might resonate, but it depends on personalities and how people explain things, and even that book that you recommended to me, I read it, the Tara Swart book,
Yeah,
what's it called again, The Source,
the
isn't it?
sword. Yeah.
The Source. I listened to it when I was on holidays, and it really helps put a scientific perspective on manifestation as well so that we can understand it a little bit more. So will we get into that a little bit, because I know we've been talking about it, talking around manifestation here, but I suppose, like, is there a definition of manifestation first of all? And then briefly, what's the neuroscience behind what we're doing with it?
God, I don't know what the definition is exactly. In 2024 it was put into the Cambridge. It was the Cambridge Word of the Year. I think it's like uh
It's bringing something into existence, isn't it?
existence.
Creating something. It's
Creating something into existence. But I think everybody, no matter who you speak to, will have a different definition of what
yeah,
manifestation is. So my definition of manifestation is your vibe, it's a lifestyle, it is who you are, and it is how you show up in this world, right? So I always say you don't manifest what you want, you manifest who you are, so who you're becoming. So let's say, for example, you want to manifest, you want to be abundant, you want to be able to pay your bills, you want to be financially independent. And by the way, for those people who do want abundance in their life, in Ireland, if you're listening, we, historically have a very like, oh, don't you have enough? Or isn't it greedy to want more? And I get a lot of people being like, but like, don't I have enough? And I feel guilty wanting more money. Money gives you choice. Money gives you freedom. Money gives you flexibility to do the things that you love. So that's the way I see money as energy. But if you want to manifest more abundance into your life, but you keep talking every day about how expensive everything is and you're so broke and there's another bill and everything is so hard, well, then you're just putting that vibration back out to the universe. And that's what's going to come in your way. So I always say it's who you are and who you are becoming. But there's a lot of neuroscience to I would get into the quantum physics and mechanics, but the neuroscience of manifestation is the power of our brain. There's also the heart as well. Like the heart is a very core organ for vibrational frequency. So like, you know, when coincidences happen and you see other people, like there is a vibrational frequency there from the heart. But the brain is all about sifting information effectively. So the brain is going to tag information that is important to you. So it's called value tagging. So, right, if you make a decision that you want to manifest getting fit and healthy, that is important to you. You're going to start to see, like, it's like the algorithm, right? You're going to start to see, like, commercials or ads for the drinks, the protein drinks. Or you're going to start to see like all these gyms starting to show up, right? Because the brain is tagging it as important to you. But at the end of the day, if you're not going to take any action towards your goal, nothing is going to happen, because manifestation, despite what people think, is not magic. You're not just going to throw up a vision board with an engagement ring because you want to meet a soulmate, a dream job, a car, a house, and just expect it to appear. We still have to work towards it. We have to take action and get aligned. But the process of that also involves visualizing, having it, seeing it, the brain tagging it as important to you. So visualization is huge, huge, huge for me. I visualize everything that I wanted, even going back to the twins, when I had 3 pregnancy losses, 3 miscarriages. And I remember I also was in Jerry Hussey's tent and I was crying. And I said, "What do you do when you're struggling to have a baby?" And he said, "You need to surrender and let go. You need to let go." I was like, "But how do you let go when you want something so bad?" And I think a lot of people get confused by that. You're still taking action, but you're not attached to it. You're not consumed by it. You're not obsessed. You're not obsessed with it. I always give the example of like let's say going to Ibiza. Manifestation is, my first step is, what do you want? Well, I want to go to Ibiza. The second step is, why do you want it? Well, I want a girl's trip. I want sunshine. I want time by myself. What do you see? I see myself like sitting by the pool. I see myself like having dinners out with my friends. What do you hear? Like, "Oh, I'm so excited. We're going on vacation," etc. What action are you going to take? Well, you're going to book your flights. You're going to book your hotel. You are going to start packing your bags. You're going to get your passport ready, right? But along the way, you're going to be challenged. The flight might get delayed. Your bag might get canceled. Your room might not be ready when you get to the hotel. Things might not go your way, but you still know, like, let's say the flight is canceled. You're still going. You are still going. And you know that. So you don't have this, but like, now I'm not going on holiday. No, no, you are still going, but maybe on a different flight, maybe
So
a little
it's
bit
kind of
later.
like not being so attached to the expectation. Is that it?
I think that you expect it's going to arrive. Like, so you expect it's going to be arrived, but you don't have any attachment to how it's going to come.
Yeah.
Right. So, like, let's say when you order your coffee in the morning and you're like, "What do I want? I want a flat white." Okay. You're not standing there saying to the barista, how do you make the coffee? When is the coffee come? Did you get my order for the coffee? Did you get it? Did you get it? I wonder when the coffee's coming. That kind of, when you're waiting for something. Wait, and a lot of people will understand this when they were trying to get pregnant. They're waiting, they're waiting, they're waiting. They're like so attached to it. But it's knowing that it's going to happen for you and trusting the timeline of when it's going to happen, because we don't know the timeline. We have to get aligned with it for it to come. I think a lot of the time you expect it's going to arrive, but you just don't know how or when. You're just working towards it.
Yeah,
That
and
makes
I can relate to this, with like the women that I work with in relation to, health, fitness, fat loss. Like, and if someone is on a long journey and they want to lose 5 stone, let's say, and when things aren't happening quick enough, or they're like, oh, I set myself this goal that I was going to be at my goal weight by Christmas, and now it's September and I'm running out of time. And then we tell ourselves the story that we're a failure, it's not working, and we self sabotage. Whereas, and what you said there about goals and about manifestation, and about, I actually wrote it down, no timelines, let go of it. This is what I tell my clients. I'm like, just lose yourself in the journey, know where you want to go, lose yourself in the journey, enjoy the process, enjoy the person you're becoming while you're doing it, and let go of the time limits. It's like, and I always say to my clients, I'm like, it's not because I'm trying to keep you extra long, and keep you as a member extra long. It's just, it takes time. It will, and I think is it Alex Ramosi who always says it. He's like, it will always be harder than you think, and it will always take longer than you think. I just think that's so true. And that timeline, taking that away, stop putting an end date on it, is just so powerful.
Yeah. And also, when it comes back to health and fitness, right? If you are taking action and you are staying consistent and you are following the process and you are following the plan, then it is going to work. Now,
Mm.
it might not work in December, but it could be January, February, where you hit that actual long-term target that you
Yeah.
get. But
But
after
I also, sorry to interrupt, I also find that what happens for a lot of people is, yes, they know what they need to do, but there's the underlying things, the limiting beliefs, the inner child stuff, perhaps a lot of deep stuff that stops that where they self-sabotage and they can't stick to it. So this is what we do. Like, we really dig deep and kind of help people work through, or just to realize the time it takes to even sometimes develop habits after years of bad habits. And that's why really taking the time, be like, sometimes it can take a few months to even just get your habits under control before you actually start to notice physical changes. But you've done, then what I find is it builds momentum, it compounds over time, and suddenly you look back and you're like, wow, well, what happened?
Oh, completely. And also, I think like manifestation, the health, like in our manifestation box, our two samples are health and fitness. And the second one is manifesting your soulmate. And it's like health and fitness is such a great one for manifesting because it's like you have a goal, as in you have a semi goal in your head. You know where you want to go. You can see it. You're visualizing it. You show up. You take action. You're consistent, but the reality is, manifestation is you. It is your responsibility. You have to take responsibility for yourself. No one is going to kick your ass out of the bed in the morning when the alarm goes. Nobody is going to force you to drink the water. No one's going to force you to do that workout. Now, great if you have an accountability, a coach, and all of that. That really helps. And we know that if you write it down, you take action, and you have accountability, you're 73% more likely to achieve your goal. So someone that's going to you is probably 73% more likely to achieve it than somebody that's trying to do it on their own, especially if they have an issue with accountability and consistency. But what people realize is you don't need to do a detox for 2 months. Stop with the quick fixes. It's the little changes that you need to do daily. I started on Monday. I was like, I'm doing a 7-day getting back my health and fitness. I have gone off the rails. I'm eating dark chocolate all day long. I drinking too much coffee. I'm not drinking water. I'm not motivated to exercise. So these are all the changes I'm going to make. And I did this acronym called AWAKE. So A was for alarm. So I set my alarm and I set 5 alarms during the day, but they're fun alarms, like universe, show me how good it gets. I'm the luckiest manifester ever. Everything always works out for me. And when that alarm goes off, it is my sign. You've got to drink. You've got to have gotten to half a liter of water, then a liter, then a liter and a half, then 2 liters, then two and a half. Like it's my, it's my signal. And so A is for alarm. And also when the alarm goes in the morning, get your ass out of bed. Like, snooze, right? Get up. W is for water. A is act as if. So act like a healthy person. I'm not going to preparing my meals every single day, right? I just not. Like, I'm busy and I'm going to go into the office and I might go to Sprout for lunch. But what am I going to get? Am I going to get the healthy salad bowl, or am I going to act like what would a healthy person choose today? K is keep track. So keep track, keep a record, especially in the beginning when you don't know what you're eating. You'd be surprised what you're putting down. And E is exercise. Try and get the exercise in because that is what's going to lift your vibe. I have drank, and I swear I was desperate for drinking water, 3.5 liters of water a day, taking a wheatgrass shot, taking my Brags and my supplement to Sisterly. I have had also made one rule, which was when I wake up in the morning, I am not allowed look at my phone, social media until after I exercise. That has been an absolute game changer. I was blaming perimenopause, kids, all that on lack of motivation. I was like, I don't even want to do the gym. I don't even want to be at the gym. I'm not enjoying this. And then I realized, why am I not enjoying it? Because I did kickboxing in college. I trained with the world champion kickboxer. I loved health and fitness. It was my thing. And I realized that there's a lot of neuroscience around scrolling before you sweat, and it should be sweat before you scroll. It has a massive impact on our dopamine in our brain. It's huge. And I have done workouts this week and I'm like a totally different person. And it's the phone. And now
Yeah.
I'm really smug. I'm like, I was on to my cousin this morning. I was like, you gotta stop looking at the phone in the morning. You've gotta stop looking at the phone. And like, I know we are addicted to our phones. We are. We're on social media. We've got a podcast. We've got to put up clips. We've got to get back to people. We've got to be seen. But you got to get the exercise in.
Yeah. No,
It's a
100%.
manifestation because you're just going to be higher vibe. And the higher the vibe, the more you're going to bring into your life.
And
One,
that's what I loved about the book, The Source by Tara Swart as well, was that there's a good bit about looking after your body and how important exercise and good nutrition and hydration. And like she goes into the science of how much that helps tie everything together. So it's amazing. I just think we always think of things as separate, like manifestation, exercise, eating, even, protein, carbohydrates, fats, gut health, brain health, mental health. Like we think about all these things, but it's all just combined in this like squiggly thing that is us.
100%. Like I say to people, I'm sorry, but like if you can't get your diet or exercise together, like please have number one sleep on your list because you are going to be, if you don't sleep properly and you're not getting enough sleep, your diet's going to go to shit. You're going to be cranky. Your vibe is going to be low and you're going to make bad food choices. So I always say, I don't know what you recommend, but I always say start with sleep.
Yes.
Get your sleep in. And if you don't sleep well at night, well, sleep in the morning and don't and skip that. If you need to skip that exercise or do it later, do it later. But sleep is so important. And you're right, Kate. Like I say, manifestation is who you are. It is everything. It's your sleep, it's your diet, because your sleep, your diet, your water intake is what is dictating your attitude and your thoughts. And your thoughts are creating your reality. So if you are cranky and you're not motivated and you're sluggish, well, that's what you're putting out. And have you looked at yourself? Have you thought? And we can all make excuses, guys. We can all make excuses, but excuses never manifested anything. I did 15-minute workout this morning. 15, that was it. A 15-minute, like kind of a cardio hit, 15-minute power session, over 2,000 steps in that. I felt really good after it. I don't have time to spend. I used to go to the gym twice a day pre-kids. Can you imagine? Twice a day. Like, and now if I can get in a 15-minute, it's better than nothing.
And it's consistency just beats intensity every single time.
100%.
Let's talk a little bit about your 7 steps,
Oh yeah.
manifestation steps, because do you use these 7 steps for everything that you've manifested in your life?
Everything that you want, whether you want to get fit and healthy, you want to reduce anxiety, you want to make more friends, you want to have abundance, meet a soulmate, get pregnant, whatever it is, these 7 steps will work. It's regardless, right? So the first step is, what do you want? You got to be clear. Like, what is it that you actually want in your life? And I always say to people, like, our manifestation box has your top 3 things you want. And I say, look at 6 to 12 months out. Like, I want a villa in Portugal someday, right? But that is long term. That is at the back of my mind. I am not prioritizing that. So, what do you want in, like, roughly in the next 6 to 12 months? Like, I'd like to get a new job, or I'd like to, it's not a set timeline, but it's something that you would like. What would you like? Oh, this is my universe. Show me how good it gets.
Woo,
11, 11. The amount of times people stop and they're like, what is that alarm going off? I'm like, it's universe, show me how good. See, these are little things I do to set myself reminders because you got to make manifestation fun. It's got to be fun or you won't keep up with it. So what do you want? Why do you want it? This is a big one. Like, why do you want the soulmate? Why do you want more money? Why do you want it? You have to be clear on your why. Like, and this why has to be strong because if your why is not strong, you are not going to stick with it. Let's give an example of in health and fitness. I was always going to the gym to look good for somebody else, like some guy that I thought was cute or whatever it was. It was never for me. Now I get out of bed because I know I'm far more patient with my kids.
Yeah.
So I do it for me. My why is different. And when I started Pause Penny, the brand was started after the loss of Polly. And that was my strong why, like knowing that people could live their best lives and inspiring them. And then when I got the negativity and the people saying to me, why are you selling boxes for at over 20 euro and you're a corporate lawyer? Like, are you crazy? Like, would you just let it go and just be your corporate lawyer? And I would say, well, my why is strong. I'm passionate about this. I love this because if I wasn't, I would have given up because I've gotten lots of rejection, lots and lots of rejection, and lots of comments from both friends and family kind of members, that would say, like, really? Do you really need to do this? So your why needs to be strong. The third step is what do you see? Like, what does it look like for you? If you want to get fit and healthy, what does that look like to you? Do you see yourself in, the gym, lifting weights or running on a treadmill? Do you see yourself in a particular outfit? If you want a baby, what do you see? What does that look like? I always say visualize the end result. You see yourself pushing a buggy. If you want a soulmate, what does that look like to you? Are you traveling together? Are you living together? Are you going to the gym together? What do you see? And like we talked about earlier, your brain will start to tag that as important to you and opportunities will start to show up, and you'll meet people and you'll be connected. Like I recently said, I want to get more sponsorships and brand deals and I want to do more hosting events. And I was like, I see myself doing some hosting events. Like I really can visualize it. And I just got an email from Penguin Publishing House yesterday saying, would you interview one of our authors at an event in September? I was like, I was visualizing that. What does it look like for you? The next one is what do you hear? So, like, what does it say? Firstly, this is two parts. Like, what do you hear? Like, if you're getting fit and healthy, you hear yourself saying, I'm so fit. I feel amazing. I feel so good about myself. Or maybe you want, your podcast to go to number one. You hear yourself saying, my podcast went number one. My podcast got X amount of downloads, whatever. Like, what does that sound like? Think about the conversation that you would have with your friend. You're telling them your news. What does it sound like? I'm pregnant. The went sale agreed. But on the flip side, what are you saying to yourself? I realized that I was saying stuff to myself. I'm like, I want to get fit and healthy. I want to get, and I was in the gym and I was like, I'm so unfit. I am
Yeah.
so unfit. And again, this self sabotage. So I did an event with a run club and Nut Butter, and they asked me, will you run the 5K? And I was like, no way. Like in my head, I was like, no way. I'm going to look like I'm not getting, I'll die running 5K. I'm not fit anymore. And I said it to my husband, and my husband is so supportive of me in the business, but he said to me, oh, Yvonne, will it look terrible for your brand if you can't complete the 5K? Because I had to give a talk after it. So, like, if I was, like, way down the canal,
Red faced
I
and
had to give a talk.
sweaty and
But when he said that, I was like, "Oh, hello. I'm running that 5K." I was the first girl in, and I was the third person in, but I killed myself on the run. Like, everybody else was jogging slowly, and I, like, killed myself. But we can self-sabotage again on that, like, I'm so unfit, I can't do it, oh no, I don't want to look stupid, so I'm not going to do it. I did an event for a makeup company, and I remember a girl was speaking to me afterwards, and she said when she goes for runs by herself, she hates going for the runs because she thinks that when people are running towards her that they're thinking, oh my god, that girl has so much weight to lose. And I was like, that is just not true. We think all these people are thinking about us and talking about us. Nobody gives a shit about your dream life. No one, except for you. But what are you telling yourself? You want to meet a soulmate and you're saying stuff like, I'm never going to meet anybody. It's so hard to meet somebody, right? There's nobody out there. I'm getting older. I'm never going to meet somebody. So we have to be very conscious of what we are telling ourselves. And sometimes that's that subconscious programming where just that's what we say. I'm so broke. I live paycheck to paycheck. But using affirmations and stuff will help you get out of that. You need to become aware of what you're hearing. So what do you want? Why do you want it? What do you see? What do you hear? What do you feel? So like act as if like think about what you're manifesting. So I remember I was manifesting selling out in the sugar club and like in the morning I would pretend like I just sold out the sugar club like and really felt it even though I hadn't. I would feel those feelings, right? Like so feel it. If you want to feel what you're manifesting, get excited, act as if it has already happened for you and really feel it and have more joy in your life. I always say to people like, when was the last time you actually had some fun? The fastest way to manifestation is to actually have a little bit of joy. And then what action are you going to take? Like you're not going to just sit on your ass and manifest losing 5 stone. Like not going to happen. It's just not going to happen unless you take some other route. You know what I mean? Like you want to manifest your business exploding, manifest starting a podcast, manifest selling out an event or writing a book or meeting someone. Well, what are you going to do about it? I went to the sugar club and I was walking down the street and I had heard these really young girls behind me, really young, maybe in their early 20s, gorgeous looking girls from abroad. And they were talking about how hard it is to make friends. They're like, it's so hard. Everybody's so busy. I'm in a new country and it's so hard. And I thought to myself, I wonder what they're doing to try and make friends. You have to put yourself out there, right? You have to show up for yourself. Even at my events, I tell people, come solo. You will find your tribe. Don't join a run club to meet people if you hate running. Join something you love. The yoga class, the cookery class, the book club.
Yeah.
We have to take responsibility for ourselves. We have to show up for ourselves. So, what action are you going to take? And then the final step is what are you grateful for? Because a grateful heart is a magnet for miracles and manifestation. And if I only was to give your listeners one tip, it's to start a gratitude practice today. One thing a day, write down one thing you're grateful for. There's so much neuroscience about the positive effects of gratitude. Gratitude was our first product I created and during the time of the loss when I was grieving. And there's a lot of neuroscience that talks about how gratitude helps you with any past trauma and any future trauma helps you reframe it. And now I'm not talking about like, oh, someone died, I should be grateful, but it helps you see things from a different perspective. And I know from my loss of Polly, this would have never have happened if she didn't pass away. Never.
Yeah.
I would never be on this track, right? So there is always, always something to be grateful for. And the more grateful you are, the more grateful things you will start to see in your life to be grateful for. It's just circular. So it's 7 steps. And I'm telling you, anything, it can be used for anything and everything. But you know what? Just like anything, you can have a gym membership, you can have the manifestation box. But if you're not going to get your ass up and go to the gym or actually do the work, then you're not going to make any changes.
I love that. That is, I just think this is such like I could talk to you for another hour, but I won't. I won't because I definitely will let you we will finish up so I can let you go. But I think this is such a great way to finish with those 7 practical steps. I think for some people now that's gonna be they will have blown their mind. They'll be like, whoa, okay, there's so much to take in here. You also have, like you've mentioned, you have products and resources that can help people, and you have events that you do. You've got a community. Where is the best place for people to source all of this?
So pausepenny.com is the website. My next manifestation challenge is starting in January and the pre-orders start today, actually, on the 28th of August. I know it's early, but it's like there's an early bird and all of that. But if you're new to manifestation, or you have a block in manifestation, or there's something that you really want, you're struggling with it, you can even be advanced, but you're struggling with it, the manifestation challenge is the best challenge. It's 21 days. We've 3 Zoom calls. I take you through the 7 steps, but we also do so much fun stuff along the way. We have a good WhatsApp community group where we do things, and you get my time as well. If you've got questions, you're able to question. And then you feel like you're part of something. There's people that are there manifesting a baby and they're struggling, or they need abundance or health and healing, whatever it is, people getting fit. And that's a really good place, I think, if someone's looking like, no, no, I want to start this. And I know, for example, people are like, but that's just January is ages away. Like, what am I supposed to do? In the meantime, I have the podcast. You've got free, you listen to manifestation episodes on the podcast. We've got free manifest tools on the website under manifest tools. So follow along on Instagram. You'll get some daily inspo. But every
And what
day,
is your handle on Instagram?
Yvonne Tchrakian. Last name is TCHRAKIAN_manifest.
Perfect. That will all be shared in the show
Yeah.
notes anyway as well for everyone. I think we'll leave it at that. Yvonne, like I said, I could keep going. I could talk to you. We didn't even really get a chance to get into your different manifestations and, the story of the babies and everything as well. But I think there's so much to take from what we've talked about this time. And maybe we'll do a part 2 another time. We can
Yeah.
get into it in a little bit more detail. But thank you so much for your time. This has been so, so helpful. I actually feel so motivated. I'm lit up now after this conversation. So thank you so
Yeah. And
much.
just a reminder to everyone, anything is possible. Anything, when you believe. So dream big and be delusional, because that's where it's at.
I just want to say thank you so much for listening to the podcast. And I would just ask for one thing from you. If at all possible, could you make sure that you subscribe to the podcast? It really does make such a difference. If there's a particular episode that you've enjoyed, please do share it in your WhatsApp groups, share it on your stories, tag myself and the guest in your stories. All of these things really do help to grow the podcast. And obviously, if there's anything you'd like to reflect on, please do leave a comment. It would mean the world to me, and I will see you on the next one.